every single voter in Eden Prairie, every single citizen in Eden Prairie gets to have a voice and a say in what government will do.
Joan Howe-Pullis is running a very strong campaign in South Eden Prairie. That's House District 48B and home of uber conservatives Senator David Hahn and House Representative Jennifer Loon. But 48B is trending moderate. Eden Prairie is finding Joan a very good fit for Eden Prairie values. Joan, welcome to Democratic Visions.
Thank you.
Joan, you're a first-time candidate?
Yep.
Why did you decide to run?
I decided to run because I think that we need to have a government that works for everyone. Once I became politically active on issues that were important to me, I was more hopeful and less cynical about how life could be.
Now, I've gone on your website, Joan. I would think it'd be fair to describe you as a social activist. Can you tell me some of the organizations that you've been involved in and what you've done within those organizations?
In 2012, I became active with Minnesotans United for All Families and Outfront Minnesota.
That was intended to persuade people to vote against the proposed constitutional amendment?
That's correct.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
How did your area vote at the end of the day, do you know?
In southern Eden Prairie, we voted against the constitutional amendment 60-40.
So did you spend quite a bit of time on that?
Yes.
And then what about 2013? Did you get involved in over the legislature in some piece of legislation?
I participated in an event over at the state capitol to launch the Vote Yes campaign to bring the marriage equality law. I worked as a volunteer leader, again with Minnesotans United and Outfront Minnesota, knocking on doors, making phone calls, bringing people over to the legislature to meet the representatives.
Were you focusing your activities on people out in this area? Or
yes.
I see.
It was in district.
You're a mother, is that right? And you're married. I understand you have a master's degree.
I have a master's degree in human development from St. Mary's University of Minnesota. Pax Christi Catholic Community is my church in Eden Prairie, and I've been part of parish leadership for many years. I'm part of music ministry. I'm a cantor for liturgies. I also direct the Bible camp drama team every summer, and I'm also part of faith formation, meaning I help to, lead students in looking at their faith.
Eden Prairie is an incredibly diverse community.
What would you expect to focus your attention on over in St. Paul?
The biggest thing we are up against right now in the country and in the state is to continue to work toward getting people who are unemployed or underemployed fully employed. We've done a really great job in the last couple of years to balance a budget and to begin to have the base under us to have better economic growth. But we're going to have to get creative because it's just a new age. We're going to have to start really listening to all of the different voices in our state to solve this issue.
That would be quite a task to undertake.
Yep.
Do you have any concepts as regards education that you think that should be implemented statewide or out here in Eden Prairie through the auspices of the state?
We absolutely have to make sure that we always keep our commitment to education solid and never like mess around with the funding.
Oh, you mean vote to spend it and then take it back?
Right. On the local level, it's just unworkable if that's not solid. So the state really has to make a commitment to that. But then we also know that the kinds of things that we see as gaps in our education, they're related to our economic issues.
What about transportation? Do you have any views on the light rail system that hopefully will be coming into Eden Prairie?
We need a full complement of public transportation, and our young people really are interested in using rail, but also I'm knocking and talking to an aging population here in Eden Prairie. They are now at a place where they know they're not going to be driving anymore, but they're not ready to give up their independence, their ability to get to and from their lives. Rail and what will happen in terms of our buses and how the Southwest Transit will work in combination with rail is going to be really important for that population as well.
So I assume that you're out and about on the campaign trail on a day in and day out basis?
Yes. Every single day I'm having conversations with people in Eden Prairie, and it's what makes me know that I want to do this job. The biggest theme that I hear is people want the legislature to get things done.
And maybe work on a bipartisan basis?
Yeah. I'm saying to folks, would you tell me what's important to you?
Are they willing to do that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Great.
What happens at first usually though is they think I'm saying, whose side are you on?
Right.
And then I'll say, well, no, it's okay. Like, you don't need to go there. Let's just talk about what matters to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can have these conversations that are just great.
When you strip away the political baggage, do people sort of share the same desires and wishes going forward?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It's perfect.
Joan, let me cut to the quick.
Sure.
I'm an Eden Prairie voter.
Right.
Why should I vote for you instead of for the person I voted for last time?
I think we need to have people in government that want to work together. The difference between me and my opponent is she has a view of government that says government needs to be smaller. When you have a conversation that says government should be smaller, you run the risk of having a government that only concerns itself with a very narrow set of concerns. We should have a government that is more efficient, that is more effective. And what I want to do is have the conversation be as broad as possible, that every single voter in Eden Prairie, every single citizen in Eden Prairie gets to have a voice and a say in what government will do. The government should be about all of us. And once everyone has a voice in the conversation, then we will be more effective. And that's why you should vote for me, because I will be listening for what matters to everyone.
Democratic Visions is independently crafted by volunteers, mostly Democrats, from Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Edina, and Bloomington.